Snoring? Gasping during sleep? Feeling fatigued? Wake up to Zepbound Tirzepatide, the first and only FDA-approved prescription medicine for moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, in adults with obesity. Zepbound is an injectable prescription medicine that may help adults with moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, and obesity to improve their OSA. Zepbound should be used with a reduced-calorie diet and increased physical activity. Zepbound is approved as a 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, or 15 milligram injection. Zepbound contains tirzepatide and should not be used with other tirzepatide-containing products or any GLP-1 receptor agonist medicines. It is not known if Zepbound is safe and effective for use in children. Do not share needles or pens, or reuse needles. Don't take Zepbound if allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression, or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems. Talk to your doctor. Call 1-800-545-5979 or visit Zepbound.lilly.com. Zepbound and its delivery device base and QuickPen are registered trademarks owned or licensed by Eli Lilly and Company, its subsidiaries or affiliates.
Welcome to Born to be a Sports Agent, where I deliver legal and contract insight for sports professionals navigating hiring, firing, injury, and representation. I'm here with Camryn Bracha, the free safety from Fresno State. He is going to be in the 2026 NFL draft. And so, Camryn, it's great to have you here. Tell me a little bit about your path to how you even got to Fresno State.
Yeah, thanks, Jill. It's been quite the ride. Lots of ups and downs, lots of adversity that have definitely made me into the player I was here at Fresno State. I started off at Buchanan High School, graduating in 2021. And so I experienced COVID my whole senior year, and that really affected my recruiting. Even on my junior year kind of campaign, going into senior year, only having about 5 games. So I first found myself in junior college. I went over to Fresno City, just right down the road. I had multiple teammates joining me over there, and I kind of took that time to see what I could do with football and kind of understand where my life was going, while being able to still have that opportunity to play, as I wasn't recruited out of high school on any Division I or Division II or FCS levels. So I took the chance going to junior college to further my education and also play football and take some more learning lessons and build some memories. And my first year there, our roster was very impacted by COVID. We had a lot of D1 bounce backs, a way overloaded roster that had a lot of cuts to be made. And I found myself making it past those early cuts, and even finding some playing time very early over former Division I athletes. And so my first year, I kind of was just coming in very light, very undersized, only about 170, but still found a big starting role and ended up starting the back half of the season for us and having a very good, successful first year. And then my second year, I really took the initiative to get bigger, put on about 20 pounds that offseason while also gaining some speed. And so that year was definitely my breakout year, where I was able to lead the defense in tackles, interceptions, forced fumbles, pass deflections, and I was a first team all-league player, the defensive player of the year in our league, and also an all-state player. But still coming out of kind of that COVID era where Division I, Division II FCS rosters were still very impacted. I didn't find myself with much recruiting coming out of junior college. I had one FCS offer after a great year that I had, and a few Division II. And then I got a call from Coach Tedford over at Fresno State just to come over and see what was going on. And so I went into that on literally a Wednesday morning. We got the text and we were there a couple hours later. And so that's where I first got to meet Coach Teddy, Coach Coyle, Coach JD, Coach Baxter, and kind of just look through some film. And I had a great first meeting, was able to really break down what they were already doing, and see what they were looking for the future. And being a Fresno kid, it was an ultimate dream to play there, as my parents were both alums. And so from there, I sat down with Coach Teddy and faced some more adversity as, I felt like I was, ready to play there, but they saw me only as a walk on coming in to start. And that was definitely a hard pill to swallow at first. But as I hung around for the weekend on their recruiting trip and kind of looked around the room and kind of saw the hierarchy and what they saw in these other people and what I knew they didn't see in me yet, I knew at that moment when I saw it kind of unfolding that I was going to play there no matter what, and no one was going to stop me at that point. And that's kind of when I made the switch in my mind, and it helped me be so impactful during my 3 years at Fresno State, even as a walk on and earning a scholarship, starting as a walk on and earning a scholarship in 2023. But it all started with the adversity I'd faced in high school, junior college, and then ultimately in that point on that recruiting trip where even though I wasn't the most recruited guy in the room, no one was talking to me. I knew I had something to prove and that I could get it done.
And you did once you walked on at Fresno State. Did you start your first year?
I did. So,
And what did you play? What position did you play?
so I started playing free safety, had very meaningful play time. Even week one, I won the job. Spring was kind of me getting my feet under myself. And then fall camp, I won the job, was starting or in the rotation week one. And then, we played Purdue, didn't have the best game I would have loved to play. And so, then I kind of, was playing more special teams the next few weeks. And then we played Nevada in our first conference game, and we had some injuries that let me kind of showcase, how I was continuing to get better. Because I've always been a guy, whether that was spring into summer into fall, I was always getting better. And so from week one to week 5 or whatever it was, I had made huge strides and was able to start against Nevada and just had a breakout game with multiple sacks, pass deflections, and tackles. And so from there, I started the rest of the year. I had sustained an injury, but then even post injury, as I missed 2 games, I was immediately back in the lineup. And so, it was definitely a year full of adversity, a lot of ups and downs, getting the job, losing it, getting it back, some injuries. But, you know, what was really cool to me was the coaches always, called on me, even after the injury. I had proven it. And even still being a walk on, I was starting for us and which wasn't easy to do. But it was really cool.
And so what happened? That was your first year with Coach Tedford,
Yep.
correct? And
Yes.
Coach Kyle.
Yep.
And then what happened the next year?
So then the next year we come into 2024 after I built a good campaign in 23. And there was still that buzz in the room, like I had to go earn the job again. Even though I had previously had a great year, I still had that chip on my shoulder that, nothing has been solidified. Let me go do it again. And so we walked into 2024. I was still playing free safety. I was complimented by another guy playing for the Jets right now, Dean Clark. He was playing strong for us. But we kind of had a hole at nickel as well. And so I was playing both free safety and nickel starting in the spring. And then, we went through the year, had lost a nickel in the portal. And then going into fall camp, we had gained another one from Power Five school, but still, I was balancing both positions that year. And so I was able to fulfill a huge role for Coach Coyle and his NFL scheme in playing 2 positions, which was pretty amazing looking back that I was able to kind of balance the two. But whatever the team needed in that moment, I was willing to step in and help us be successful. And we had a great first few weeks. We played Michigan really tough defensively, and then had some great games following that where I was able to play both positions and make make multiple plays at both spots, which was really helpful for us. But then that's the year I had the season-end injury with the broken collarbone.
And when did that happen? What game was that?
Game 4, so right in the window of the meta red shirt.
Okay, so game 4, then so you ended up having a redshirt year then.
Yep.
Your junior, I guess technically would be your junior year, right? Or senior year.
It was my senior, yeah, technically my senior because I had 2 at Fresno City, 1 in 23 at Fresno State, and so that was going to be the senior year. And yeah,
Okay.
it was unfolding to be a great year, yeah.
Okay, so then you then come back for a final season this last season, and a whole new coaching staff, whole
Yeah.
new uh defensive coordinator, head coach. So then what happened next? I guess
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Then it was definitely a crazy period in between December coming into January, and with modern day college football, coaches changing, players leaving, you know, I decided that a lot of faith in Coach Entz and what he was going to be producing, and I was willing to stay. And most importantly, get my degree. That was a huge thing in me coming back. Um, and so we walk into a new year, and this was a year that I knew there was going to be a lot of change, and I had to step up as a huge leader for our team. And so that was always my message. Week one, meeting one with Coach Entz was, how can I be the player that we can get this ball moving fast, because we don't have much time. And so, that was something big that me and Coach Entz built early. And, I was a good resource for him to use, and he was a good resource for me. And Coach Benedetto, we clicked really early on. His personality fit the culture perfectly to what we have here at Fresno State. And then, you know, again, we were building a great defense. I was playing multiple positions, kind of solidified myself at free safety for the spring. That's kind of where he wanted me to be. And even working in a fall camp and summer, those were kind of things we did. And he felt like I could really control things back there and put us in good positions to win, and also erase a lot of mistakes, which I had done a lot in the past. And then, we had some unique changes going into season, which that's when I was playing free safety, but then I switched over to strong.
Okay.
And so that was the big change.
And you've never played strong before.
No, that was my first time playing it, in this scheme all year.
Okay.
And so that was pretty tough. I mean, you watch it on film every day, so you have a general idea of what's going on. For me, I was always studying every position, whether that was strong, corner, nickel, what is the front seven doing? I was big on all that. And so I had a good idea of what we were doing, but, there was still definitely a learning curve to it. But that's what we had to do to be successful in order for us to be a top 10 defense in the country. That's where I had to step in and um, play, kind of out of position. And, it worked out. And that's just always been my mindset, on any team, is how can I make the team better? Um, and what can I do to make us successful? So that was an adverse change, but it paid off.
But in the NFL, what position do you think is your strength? Or what do you think you're going to play
Ye-
in the NFL?
Yeah, in the NFL, I think I'm definitely a free safety. I think I have a lot more speed, and my size matches that position better. And I think a lot of my plays in these past few years have come out of man coverage, recently zone coverage, how I've been able to disguise coverages in a too high shell, pre snap along with post snap, and how I've been able to kind of take away throws in the middle of the field or deep half or quarters, before the play, and talking people out of it. So I think I learned a lot about that. I think man coverage has been a huge skill for me. And so I think that can really help me be successful at free safety, but I think I have an immense amount of range that's also helped me out, and will make me successful there as well. And so I think free safety fits my mold really well with the attributes I've got and the way I'm able to communicate and lead the defense with seeing everything in front of me.
Okay, what about special teams? I know you would have played on special teams all 3 years. What did Coach Baxter have you playing on special teams?
Yeah, special teams was a huge part of my thing, even going back to high school. It didn't matter how many snaps I was taking, I was always want to be a big impact on special teams. And so, funny, coming over from Fresno City, I had a lot of special teams film that I was always trying to show backs and be like, hey, like, this is this
I
is
mean, laugh, but
yeah, like, hey, Vax, this is what I could do. I think I could really impact, you know, um, your teams and fit the mold and the culture he really wants to build. And so, my first year, I played our signature position, then six on kickoff, which was really the most important position on that unit. And so that was a huge thing. That was some of his best athletes have played that position. Um, you talk about like Magdalena, me, Michael Pittman was a guy, a lot of receiver kind of body types, very athletic players. And so it was really impressive that I was able to kind of fit that athletic mold as a safety, being able to run with some of those guys. And so I played that, and then I played a lot of I played center on kickoff return, which is a really tough spot. I played a little bit of left tackle on that as well, which was also tough. On punt, I was a tackle. Um, in our first scheme in 23, we were more a balanced punt team, a pocket punt team. So I did a lot of blocking down, different kind of skills on that punt team. And then when we moved recently to a kind of rollout team, a tiger team, I played more our signature position on that, which was the left tackle. And that was similar to what the six would do, but on punt, as we kind of designed the punt team around that position. So I was able to be a big impact in that in 24 and 25. And then punt return, I was always a guy up on the line, making contact and great in coverage. And, I was a reliable guy on hands team. And so I had multiple kind of positions, whether that was all those along with field goal block. And so, I had a big role on special teams, but that was huge in my development as a player. And I always took that very seriously. And, I was able to get some cool awards through that. Baxter always holds a, survivor challenge during spring ball where he provides multiple drills. And depending on your success there, you can win, um, some pretty cool things. I got a trophy ball that he got me from our last drill. So that would be a cool thing to put on the desk. But that kind of also put together, my intent on how impactful I wanted to be on special teams, and also, how much that had helped me develop as a player.
Got it. So also during your career, and we were just talking about this, was your mentor that you had, and how
Yeah.
did you end up getting a mentor, and how did that happen,
Well, I've
and who
had
that is, and how
yeah.
did they impacted you? How they impacted you?
Yeah, well, I've had multiple people throughout my time, really help me out. Like, it's taken a village for me to be where I am, whether that was my family, leaders I've had at church, but I know kind of specifically you're talking about one of my best friends to this day, Elon Page, his dad, Stefan Page, played for the Chiefs for a while and the Bulldogs for us, and he was lighting it up in front of the Red Wave, for years until he went to the NFL and was just a Blazer. But he really helped me start in high school, kind of keep me grounded in the intense athletic community that Clovis is. It really brought me kind of back down to earth, and he was able to kind of tie a lot of the lessons he had learned as an athlete along with stuff in his faith that helped me just be more grounded on the field. Play with a lot more gratitude and grace for myself too. I was also always really hard on myself in between the white lines. And so, his leadership really helped me take my game from Fresno City, which was a really hard environment for me to step into that I hadn't really been exposed to. And I really had to learn to just be myself there. And that's what helped me be successful. And then get into Fresno State, I experienced so much adversity. And he always kind of kept me process orientated with, you know, how are you getting better each week? You may be taking a punch here or there, but how are you continuing to take the right foot forward and um, continue to see it big picture and be yourself and not mold to kind of the negative things, that may affect me in that environment. And so, he was able to really guide me on, where I was going. He saw how great I could be. And, he's definitely specifically someone in my life that if I didn't have him, I wouldn't be close to where I am today.
Got it. So is there anything else you want to share with my listeners, or share with um, an NFL coach that's looking into you?
Yeah, I think I'm a day one impactor, um, in between the lines and outside of them. I think I'm ready, physically, mentally. I'm able to digest schemes, very efficiently and see things and read things really well. I think I've got a great feel of the game, but I think my teammates respect me on a very high level, and that's something I've always prioritized. And um, I'm always going to be myself, and I think that's what my buddies and teammates really respect about me and my coaches. I've always done things the right way, worked hard. Nothing's been given to me ever, whether that was going JUCO, walking on, and whatever lies forward. I had to earn every specific little detail, which made me who I am and, allowed me to find my success. And at every level, whether that was high school, junior college, or Fresno State, I've always proved myself and I've always gone out and earned it no matter what was put against me. Whatever label was, I've always proved people wrong. And I think that just gives me so much confidence moving forward that I can continue to do that on the professional level. You know, who's to say if I did it here, why I can't do it moving on? And I think that's just something big really for me. But I've earned everything during this journey. I've done it the right way. My teammates have gravitated towards me, and I've been able to impact the culture of every team I've been on. And I think I can do that starting day one, on any NFL roster. And I think as long as my coaches get to know me and my teammates get to know me, I'm a guy that they would love to play with, and I would love to play for them. And I'm the guy that's willing to go out and die for my teammates and coaches. And so, I think I've got a unique personality that really can help the people around me. And I'm just, looking forward to whatever coach is fortunate enough to give me that opportunity so I could prove that to them.
Okay. So when were did you already graduate?
Yes, I graduated. Like I said, that was a big reason I came back in 2025. I graduated this December
And
2025.
what'd you get your degree in?
Business management. So, yeah, it was really good to kind of get that degree and see how, I really like the timing of it because a lot of my leadership skills I gained during the 2025 seasons aligned with a lot of my classes. And so it was really
Oh,
cool to see, from a business perspective, how leadership is impactful. But, it was the same thing, whether it was in the classroom, it was all aligning with the message I was spreading to the team throughout the year. And so it was really cool to kind of see that. And I look forward to, taking my education along with my sports background, into my professional career and also, my career after sports and how I can continue to, impact the people and lead the people and the teams that I've been around.
great. Okay. Well, thanks for being on my show, Cameron. And how can an NFL team get a hold of you?
Yeah, coming up to the draft, my number will be out there. I've emailed it to every coach around, position coach, defensively, special teams coordinator, along with my email. But yeah, they can find me at 559-307-2010 would be my direct cell phone. And then my email would just be my first name, last name, 24@gmail.com. And so I'll be looking for those messages, looking forward to it, and looking forward to getting in contact with some of these coaches.
Great. Thanks for being on my show.
All right. Thanks, Jill.
Thanks for listening to Born to be a Sports Agent, where we discuss relevant legal issues, contract issues, and discuss representation for everyone in sports. This is Jill McBride Baxter, and my core values are protection, advocacy, and trust. If you are looking for representation and you need someone to take you where you can't take yourself, please go to my website at jillmcbridebaxter.com or email me at jillbaxter@me.com and set up a meeting for a free consultation. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic week. And good luck in sports.